Hello. Uh, Today I am going to explain what is the tussle between the government of India and WhatsApp and also Twitter on the other hand. After the incidents which happened on January 26th, when there were some very ugly scenes in Delhi, after the farmers decided to march on to the parliament and they were prevented from doing so, it led to a groundswell of support for the farmers from international dignitaries as well, like Greta Thunberg. And all this led to a big controversy in India when a particular document called Toolkit. Toolkit is nothing but a document which is uploaded on Twitter and other such social media outlining the issue and telling people what they can do to support the issue through their social media is what Toolkit is all about. And there was a toolkit, and we know that a young lady called Disha Ravi was also arrested and spent a few days in jail before she was granted bail. A few days after this, the government seemed to come out with a new set of rules and regulations for social media. And they said that if anybody objects to the way that they are portrayed in the social media, if they are insulted on the social media, or if they feel that there is something offensive in the social media, they can complain to the respective companies, and the companies should appoint officers, employees of theirs, who sit and discuss on that and will come out with a solution for that. They'll order the content to be removed, for example. And if they don't do it, it can go to a secondary level committee which will decide on it. And if not, it can be escalated to the government authorities concerned. They also said that social media companies would not be considered as intermediaries any longer. Intermediaries would mean that uh, the opinion which is posted on WhatsApp and Twitter are not considered to be the opinions of Twitter or WhatsApp, but as opinions of the people who have posted it. Therefore, Twitter and WhatsApp are considered as intermediaries because they are just posting the information on those platforms, and those platforms are not taking a stand on that. But that would cease to be the case 3 months from the date of that government order, which was in February. So that has come into effect a couple of days ago. Now, anybody posting information would be considered as the opinion of the respective platform. So, unless they decide to remove it in case if it is objectionable, they can be proceeded upon. In other words, the platforms would be responsible for all civil and criminal action which are bound to follow. This is particularly seen as a method, control that the government is introducing on the social media in order to get rid of any negative comments that may come upon the government itself. And it is also seen as a violation of privacy. Why is that? Because in the case of WhatsApp, the government also says that social media should trace back the origin of the story to the person who started it and should reveal the name in case the government demands it. In other words, in a WhatsApp message or in Twitter, etc., the originator of that particular message, not a retweet or not a forwarding of the message, the original person who sent the message should be traced back. Now, you know that as far as WhatsApp is concerned, one of their main selling points, USP, is that the messages are encrypted from end to end. In other words, it can only be seen by the person who sends it and the person to whom it is intended, the recipient. Even the servers which holds the message is holding it in a kind of encrypted form, in a very garbled form, which even if WhatsApp itself wants to read it, will not be able to do so. Right? Interestingly, this technology was developed by a company which now runs Signal, the app, which is getting to be a little popular because of the fact that they say that we will not monitor anything that you do. WhatsApp, on the other hand, is involved in another controversy where they say that some of your information, particularly the patterns of behavior, which advertisements you click on, etc., which are the messages, especially commercial messages that you respond to, etc., would be watched by them, not the content of the message, but who you contact, which can be used by them to target advertisements which can reach you. They say that it actually helps you to know about products that you are interested in, but it's also a way for them to make money. And you can't fault them, because any social media company do not exist for the sake of charity. They exist for making money, for profits, like everybody else. So that's a different matter altogether. But this end-to-end encryption is something very sacred as far as WhatsApp is concerned. The government says that you should trace it back, which means that if you want to trace one message, there should be something in that message. The Twitter should leave something called a fingerprint. WhatsApp should leave something like a fingerprint, even Twitter, on the original message. A fingerprint is a kind of a recognizable code which will lead back to the person who originates it. And if they do it with one, they have to do it with every message which is generated on the platform, whether it is WhatsApp, where it is more pertinent, and Twitter. What happens then is that the privacy that you're talking about is lost, and it can also be misused. Misused where you are giving an authoritative regime a means to silence you, or it can actually lead to exploitation through other means. They point out that if anybody takes a snapshot of a message they had received, they don't forward it, but they cut and paste a message and they send it, they themselves become the originator of that message, which means that even though the message is not being created by them, they'll be liable for it. So WhatsApp says that it is something that we cannot do anything with. Twitter, on the other hand, has gone to the courts in India and said that the request that the government is making on them is violative of a fundamental right to privacy, which has been decided decisively in 2017 by the Supreme Court, where it said that it is part and parcel of Article 21 of Indian Constitution. How will it turn out in the future is for all to see. WhatsApp, for instance, has 500 million users in India. This is their biggest market by far, right? Twitter has a lot of followers in India, a lot of people who use it in India. It is also fairly big, though not as big as WhatsApp or Facebook for that matter. Instagram, which is again a Facebook product, is also very, very popular, but Twitter is not. But Twitter is still popular. They make a ton of money from India as well through advertisements. So at the end of the day, how will it turn out is fairly evident that they will have to toe the government line. But WhatsApp, unfortunately, will not be able to do anything with that encryption of their messages, because once they break that encryption, they need to do that not only in India, but they will have to possibly follow through in every country in which they operate. In fact, Twitter, for instance, and Facebook follow a different set of rules and regulations in Europe, where there are strict laws monitoring information. But in Europe, the rules are basically designed to protect the privacy of the person who is using it. And in India, the rules are designed to go against that and reveal the name of the original sender. I hope you understood what I'm trying to say over here. How will it turn out is something which we'll have to see. At the end of the day, all these platforms want to do their business in India, and therefore at the end of the day, they may compromise a little bit here and there. And I'm sure that there will be a kind of formula that they will evolve with the government. And at the end of the day, as usual, the powers always win to the extent that they can. It may not be a unilateral victory for them, but these platforms will have to compromise down the line. That's my reading. Thank you very much for listening to me.